Canvas AI. And under her leadership, Canvas AI has become a trailblazer in the generative AI enterprise solution space, supporting industries all the way from manufacturing to health tech, harness the power of AI. Outside of her role at Canvas AI, she's also a global thought leader, shaping and leading conversations around AI's role in growth, sustainability, and empowerment. She has her insights that have been published in Bloomberg and Forbes, and she's a regular speaker at the World Trade Organization and the World Trade Forum. So can we please put our hands together for Humera? Thank you so much.
Thank you and good evening. I wish my skills at AI were that good that I could have predicted what was going to happen to NVIDIA this week, because then I could have bought the shares at the right time. So good evening, everyone. My name is Humera Malik. I am, as introduced, CEO of Canvas AI. I thought it was a great opportunity to come in front of some of you who are sharing the same journey that I am of a startup, and actually share some of the experiences I have, good, bad, or ugly, as they are. I just thought we'll come out open with it and share, so that none of you lives under the impression that this is going to be or is an easy journey in any way. So I was asked to come and talk about scaling your business. And I thought, what better opportunity to get at a time when we're all getting disrupted. And what was a great moment for me is when on Jan 27th, I felt that me and Jensen Huang were in the same boat, because he took a few melatonins to go to bed when he lost $500 billion in market share because of a small company called DeepSeek and the model that they launched. And because of that, it eroded $500 billion from their market share. And so I felt great, but I didn't make the right moves at that time. But as I was coming here talking about scaling of the business, I realized I got to share with you, is starting a business wasn't the hardest part, because all of us have hundreds of ideas. It was actually scaling of the business, which I have found is the toughest job that one could have. Because all you do all day long when you're scaling a business is making tough decisions. And those decisions can be where to find the money to scale, where to find the people. What are the kind of people that I need? Who I do not need, because I ended up hiring some friends that were close to me, and I ended up hiring them while I was starting this business. These tough decisions actually take time from all of us every day, but it's part of scaling of the business. But it can never prepare you what happened in the market this past week and this week. It wasn't just NVIDIA who lost $500 billion, and they are basically not a scale-up, as we all know. But I don't know what's going to happen after all of this, but they're not a scale-up. It's not just them, it's many other companies. So there is 6 companies that actually for building AI agents for browser automation, and the investors that invested $500 million in them lost all that money because OpenAI came out with Operator. And that has completely eliminated that market of automation, especially in browser automation, because any one of you who's actually working in the tech space can go out and do that today. So what does that mean for all of us that are trying to scale? Well, that means that if NVIDIA isn't safe and OpenAI isn't safe, then none of us are safe. If the product strategy didn't necessarily work for them, it won't work for us, because somebody can always do it faster, cheaper, better. And I experienced it at firsthand myself. Because I feel like when you're scaling up, it's like being in a war zone and you're fighting battles all day long. So when I started and I got my first customer that was paying us millions of dollars, and I was working with one of the hyperscalers as a partner, I didn't realize I was in a battle, let alone war. I had no idea I was in a battle. But as I paved the way and I went in with this company into my customer as a partner, the next thing I knew, since I had paved the way, all it took for this hyperscaler partner is to push me to the side and say, we can do the same. It doesn't take much for somebody to replace you. And that's what you got to always keep in mind as you're scaling. Your product is not your differentiator. It's actually how you go about scaling your business is what's your differentiator. If you, like me, are relying on one partner, one hyperscaler, and you have nothing else built in that can actually protect you from getting eroded, the first thing that would happen is they would displace you. And so hence, I lost my first biggest customer. And what do you do when that happens? How do you scale up? Because that was the customer through which you got your Series A and now you're ready to scale up. Well, you dust up, you stand up, you dust it off, and you start all over again. And what you realize as the learning is that I cannot just count on one customer, one partner. I got to have more options. I got to have diversity. Well, I also learned that you need to be resilient in the face of everything, no matter what happens. And you got to go and figure this out. And how you figure it out is really making sure that the next time when I go to this customer, that I'm not opening up the kimono and making sure that the partner is in it. If they're not loyal to me, I am not loyal to them. The kind of attitude we need to develop, and I'll tell you, some of you might be new to Canada. We Canadians have a very soft heart. If there's one thing we can learn from our partners and some of our customers that are in the South, working with them, one thing I've learned is not just resilience, but you got to be brutal in your approach. And that's what helps you scale up, is having options, having diversity. And what does it take to stay in the game? Why do some of these startups survive? I think you guys must have read some numbers, which is, only X%, 7-8% of the startups survive into the scale-up mode. So yes, it is a hard journey, and what does it take? Well, it takes a lot more than a product, because everybody can have a very cool product idea. What it takes is how you go to market. What it takes is how many channels have you created for your product. What it takes for you is, have you figured out the art of survival? NVIDIA didn't go out of business. Well, because they are large enough and they can take $500 billion hit. But the other companies, the companies that were funded by Y Combinator and Sequoia, 4 companies, basically $500 million gone. And those companies are gone just because they did not build enough diversity into their business. And it was an AI agent doing one simple task. If you're doing that today, might as well write it off, because in this kind of an AI revolutionary time that we're going through right now, if you're just relying on one strategy, I've got the coolest product, Product Hunt told me that I'm actually the top or the top 10 products, and that's how I'm going to survive, that's not the way to survive in today's era. And if you're not incorporating, as I say, if you're not eating our own dog food, I'm an AI company. If I don't know how to incorporate AI to build both of those mechanisms, which is my defensive strategy, as well as my offensive strategy, is how am I at the offense when I'm playing this? And some of you who actually go out and play soccer or football, as we call it in some of the countries, is basically you have to have both of those strategies. Because if you're just going out and building a cool product, and you do not know how many hands is this product in and how quickly can I get it, if somebody else was to come and bring another product that looks similar to mine, just what DeepSeek did with OpenAI, OpenAI opened up the channel for them. Because what they did was they got the whole world used to the idea that you can work with this product. DeepSeek made it easy, cheaper, accessible for that entire target market that OpenAI had. You have to secure your distribution channel. If I am building an AI company that is doing browser automation, you know what the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to go build exclusivity with one of the browsers. I'm going to go give it as an open source agent for people to get used to it. There's a thing, as we called it, the addiction mode. You have to build the addiction with your users. And in the enterprise cycle is the first 5 F-ops that you do. Who are those customers? What did you learn? What did the next 25 look like? That's what a scale-up does. Not just build cool products and promote those products. You actually have to start building those products, building a user base, building some exclusivity. That's what you have to do. And at the end, I do want to say at least in what does it take to stay in the game, is AI is not just a luxury anymore. AI has become necessity. Because if you don't do it, somebody else would. Because if you don't act fast enough, if you're not using AI in your day-to-day operations, where your engineering team is actually building better designs, your engineering team is actually using it to debug the code and getting better code out, somebody else is doing it. So all of you who are actually looking at building any of the business, it might not be an AI business. And we don't all need to get into AI business because there are many other opportunities that exist in the market. But make sure AI is part of your business, is how you run your business, because it would always give you a competitive advantage. I would like to leave you with these thoughts, but these thoughts need to be embedded into 3 things that you guys need to think about. One of the things that as I said earlier, Canadians are very soft-hearted. I would say there's 3 attributes that would help you scale up your business. It's obsession with being a scale-up. I'm going to scale up my business. I'm going to go from 5 to 25 customers at any cost. I'm going to scale up my business. I'm going to go from $500,000 to $5 million in 18 months at any cost. That's what I'm going to do. I will have a very brutal strategy, which is I'm not going to stop at any cost. I'm not going to be exclusive to anybody. I'm going to build 5 distribution channels that would allow me to reach into 5 different markets. And I'm going to pre-integrate with all of these enterprise sources of data. I'm going to take the risk. That's the kind of mindset of obsession, brutality. And the third thing, the third attribute you guys need to think about as you think about scaling up is not just the obsession and the brutality, but actually the ability to fight anything that comes your way, is the resilience. No matter what happens, I would be successful with it, because if this agent doesn't work for this kind of a market, I'm going to tweak it. It's going to go and work in another kind of market. And that's the kind of diversity that you need to build into your business. So when I talk about having a plan, having your distribution, integrating AI, being paranoid, to me, being paranoid is one of the key things. I am paranoid. I think everybody is out to get me, because I know that investors are out to get me because they have their stake in the business, but their objective and their mission is different from mine. I know every partner, every competitor is out to get me. When you become big enough, everybody thinks you're a target. When you're trying to scale up, just like how I was replaced by a hyperscaler, when you're going and you're actually paving the way for any market, the regulators start coming after you. If anybody sees you scale up, even the people, because I have made my own share of mistakes and didn't hire the right people, they come after you. Do you know from a startup to a scale-up mode, the number of lawsuits and litigations that I've faced is just because it didn't work for them. They wanted to come after us. And that's what happens. So if you think that you're small enough or you're just scaling up and nobody's going to come after you, think again. And now in this world of era, in this AI era, everybody can come after you, because I can code an agent in 15 minutes using different tools, AI coding platforms that you might have taken months to create. So keep in mind, speed is so critical that it never was before, because you could create something tonight and somebody like Operator or somebody like DeepSeek can take your market tomorrow. So make sure you're the first one to market. Even though DeepSeek has come, it doesn't mean OpenAI is going to go out of business. They just have another competition that's come in. It's just faster, cheaper, and better. But that's how we all need to be in our approach, is faster, cheaper, better, so that whatever we go for, we actually have options available to scale up. And at the end, I always like to leave every entrepreneur with a very positive note. So whoever's getting into this, I want to welcome you to entrepreneurship, because this is where every no leads you to a yes. Every yes opens up a new opportunity for you and a new challenge for you. And it is so tough that I ask everybody, you make sure you know how to laugh through it, because if you don't, you will cry. So make sure you laugh through it. You got this, and I got this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Humera, for sharing those key pieces of advice with the entrepreneurs.
Oh, thank you.
Small social business statement.
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Thank you.